The toll for Alzheimer's is growing in this country. More than 5 million people suffer from the disease. With Americans living longer, that number is expected to nearly triple to 14 million by 2050. It is already the 6th leading cause of death in the nation. On last night's 60 Minutes, our Dr. Jon LaPook shared the personal story of Alzheimer's impact on one couple. He's followed the devastating effects over the course of a decade. Jon, good morning.
Good morning, Norah. None of us, including me as a doctor, can truly appreciate the struggle of a person with Alzheimer's without living it ourselves. But Mike and Carol Daly gave us an extraordinary gift, allowing us inside their home for an intimate look at this cruel disease. We visited them 7 times over 10 years and witnessed firsthand the brutal toll on both Carol and Mike. When we first met Carol and Mike in 2008, Carol was active, conversational, and determined to make the best of her failing memory.
How old are you now?
65 now. I think, right?
Yeah.
Almost 3 years later, when we went back to visit, Carol had no idea how old she was.
80? No, I don't know.
You're actually 67.
67?
67.
Now Mike, a former New York City cop, had to apply her makeup and dress her. But he told us this was his chance to repay all that Carol had done for him.
She had a job, she cleaned house, she did the wash, she made the beds, and she put up with me. So all that's changed for us is the roles.
What would you say the toll has been of this long journey on you?
I'm dying. I really think I am. The stress, I thought I had a heart attack to begin with.
She's so changed just since the last time I saw her. Mm-hmm. And her pulse is as strong as can be and regular. I'm feeling it right now. So her heart seems strong, but she has so deteriorated.
Dr. Jon LaPook joins us. It was just incredible to watch this, and I'm so glad that they let you share their story.
Yeah, can you imagine the generosity to let us into their homes like that?
Yeah, and I think we all learned something from it, and especially Mike, you know, this former cop, to talk about him feeling like he's dying and the anxiety he faces. This disease places such a burden on caregivers, too.
Yeah, and I think that's the big message for everybody, and certainly for me. I've had Alzheimer's, patients with Alzheimer's, persons with Alzheimer's sit across from the desk from me and they come back. But that's different than me being in the home. And over the years, you see Mike, you know, it was so sweet the way he's combing her hair and putting the makeup on her and making the beds and says, I can handle this, you know. I'm not gonna put her in a nursing home. But it turns out you can't do it alone, and I think that is such a huge message here for people.
13 years, is that a typical chore?
It isn't,
Carol?
John. I mean, I spoke to her neurologist, Dr. Gayatri Devi, who was amazing, following her and actually almost becoming like a friend to them over the years. She said it's really an early onset Alzheimer's. She got the symptoms probably in her late 50s, and 95% of people with Alzheimer's develop symptoms after 65. So this was longer. She's had it for more than a decade, symptoms probably for closer to 15, 17 years. There's a spectrum. The Alzheimer's Association will say average survival is 4 to 8 years, but there's a big spectrum. It can go to 20 years, and there's lots of different forms of it.
I think a lot of people watching it were looking at that couple saying, that's my biggest fear right there. Especially when you know that there's no cure, there's no drug. Do you see anything that's promising in the research?
I do. I mean, I am an optimist. I know there's no cure, but one of the big discoveries has been that the pathologic changes inside the brain start 10, 20, 30 or more years before the symptoms. So what we've been doing right now with the medicines we're giving is maybe the equivalent of giving somebody Lipitor after they've had 5 heart attacks and they're in heart failure. It's way too late. So a lot of work is going into trying to diagnose people early before they have symptoms. Maybe those medicines that aren't working now would work then, and then there's some new medicines.
How much of Alzheimer's is preventable, or dementia preventable?
Well, dementia, people get confused between dementia also. So dementia is the big label, and then under that, the most common cause is Alzheimer's. But that about a third of dementia has a component of vascular dementia, meaning tiny little blood vessels that sort of, you have a little stroke here, a little stroke there, the brain tissue gets knocked off. You may not have any physical symptoms, but it diminishes your ability to think. We say what's good for the heart is good for the head, so if people out there want to do something now, you should make sure your blood pressure is okay, that your weight's right, your lipids are good, you're exercising, you're eating right, you're the correct weight. And then social interaction is so important. That's really important.
It's so rare, Jon, that you or anybody gets to follow anybody for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about what you learned from this particular couple. As you mentioned, this is not the first time that you've dealt with people that have Alzheimer's. What did you learn from them?
You know, it really was an emotional and gut-wrenching journey for me.
I bet.
Because I'm sitting there with them, and you have the journalist, and you have the physician, and you have the person, and sometimes there's some friction there. But my mantra is that the Hippocratic Oath always trumps the Nielsen ratings. So when you have these moments, and you saw it in the piece, which was, I'm sitting there in January when I went back with 60 Minutes, and he said, you know, I got so bad a few months ago, I thought of putting a gun to my head. And that really knocked the air out of me. And when we went off camera, now I'm clicking into doctor mode. And I had to really make sure that he wasn't suicidal. He said he wasn't. I made sure his doctor knew about that. But that's, you know, there's this kind of overlap between these different hats that I wear.
I think you gave new meaning to For Better or Worse.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, For Better or Worse.
Tremendous.
That was it right there.
Dr. Jon LaPook, thank you so much.
Thank you.